Hey all, really quick, I just wanted to say that this will probably be the last full guide that I make for any percent, but we'll be posting updates to this run in the description and comments as they come up. Please look at the description if you intend on learning this run, since the route very well could have changed depending on when you watch. Thank you. Hello everyone, I'm Mandals with Troll and I Central, bringing you an as of early 2020 updated speedrun tutorial for the any percent category of this game. We'll be covering other categories at another time. As a general introduction, you can run any percent on PC, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, or Nintendo Switch. PC is generally considered to be the fastest platform, but you can run on whatever you want, as console and PC are split into their own subcategories. Difficulties are also split into their own subcategories. You can run on easy or hard. We do not include normal difficulty, as it offers little to no variety when compared to the easy difficulty category. I will be showing all of my demonstrations on easy difficulty, as that is the most optimized and fastest of the any percent subcategories. You can run this category by yourself or with a friend, making solo and co-op subcategories as well. There are very few restrictions for any percent, but do be sure to view the full rule listing on speedrun.com before submitting your own run. If you require any further clarification, you can always contact myself or Kevin through our Twitter accounts, Discord, or here on YouTube. Next, if you're playing on PC, you'll want to go into video settings. Make sure texture filtering is set to trilinear, shadow quality is low, and motion blur is off if you want best performance results. However, do not set your texture quality to low or you'll encounter a bunch of visual bugs that will make some sections unplayable. You can turn anti-aliasing off, but it will make all the foliage in your game ugly as sin, as well as making it hard to see in some areas. Also, set your game to windowed for even better results. That covers just about all the basics, so let's get started. Your timer should start when you select your difficulty, but before you start an actual run, start a new game, and then once you gain control of auto, back out to the main menu. This is because the first loading screen will always take longer to load the first time you boot your game up. Once your run starts, you'll come across a few cutscenes, all of which you can skip. When you gain control of auto, run over to this tree and carve it. Next, crouch, then walk over to this bush and position yourself like I do here. I like to make sure Auto's head is clipping into this leaf as a visual indicator. Once the game lets you, tap your respective button to start tracking the first boar. You don't need to hold down the button to do this, contrary to what the game tells you. After that, follow this path that I take, and once the screen is no longer gray, back up and face this tree. Look carefully at how I have Auto faced here, as positioning is important. It will take a few attempts to get a good feel for this, but it's not too hard. It is at this point that you can run directly at the boar and tackle it. If you spawn the boar in the right spot, it will always run towards you. To start tracking the second boar, carve the first one and then move slightly to the right or until you are past this tree and tap your respective button. Now follow this path and head towards the marker on your minimap. Once again, once the gray goes away, you can tap the button to spawn the boar. Turn directly around and run, and the second boar will also run directly at you. Once you carve both boars, this section is completed and you will be met by a brief, unskippable cutscene. The next cutscene you can skip, and this running section is very self-explanatory. This part is an auto-scroller, so all you need to do is go straight ahead and follow the QuickTime events. Once you reach this fork in the road, head right. Both paths lead to the same spot, but it's slightly faster to take this one. After you finish the auto-scroller, a short unskippable cutscene will play, followed by another brief auto-scroller. There's no tech here, just don't die. Before you gain full control of auto again, you need to perform a QuickTime event and then are prompted to heal yourself and craft a weapon. When you go to craft a jawbone club, be sure to move the cursor left as it's less menu navigation. Now, immediately stand up and head into this small cave to pick up the 2 weapon bindings and an auto idol within. Also, be sure to watch your stamina as you're running, because if you deplete your entire meter, you will have to wait a moment before you can run again. After picking those items up, head towards this ledge and carve the tree next to it. Climb up the ledge and turn sideways. As you're moving to drop off the ledge, perform a roll right before you drop. This will cause you to fly a great distance away from the ledge. The purpose of this is to save about 5 seconds by bypassing a small unskippable sequence where Auto will pause and look around for a moment. Next, take this path and kill this enemy as quickly as possible. If you want to do this efficiently, you will need to start swinging before you actually hit him. This is because the game doesn't care whether or not you actually land 3 hits. It only checks to see if you have finished the 3-hit combo, meaning you can kill a small enemy with 1 hit so long as it is the last hit in a combo. If he drops a weapon binding, tree branch, or stone club head, pick it up. Otherwise, continue up this rock face. Watch my pathing here. If you want to climb this wall as fast as possible, you'll need to take this route exactly. After this unskippable cutscene, run over to these 3 enemies and take them out as fast as possible. Remember the 3-hit combo trick and try not to get staggered by any of them. If you're lucky, you'll kill them all without getting hit. After all the enemies are dead, you'll need to sit through the longest unskippable cutscene in the game, but that's it. The intro is done. Once the title screen fades away, you'll be greeted with a couple more cutscenes, but you can skip them both. Once you gain control of Troll, move forward, wait a moment, and then perform a swipe attack. If you time this right, you'll kill all 3 enemies at once, allowing you to switch to auto and proceed immediately. Pick up any weapon bindings, tree branches, or stone club heads that they potentially dropped while you wait for the next text prompts. As soon as you're allowed, hold the command wheel button down and select follow, then mount as fast as you can. Grab onto this ledge, drop, and then while Troll is still in mid-air, restart the chapter. If you're not comfortable doing this from that low, you can climb higher to allow yourself more time to position Troll in midair. Doing this glitches Troll's hitbox, causing him to partially clip through most objects. This is called float clipping, and having it active is necessary in order to perform many skips in this run. This will remain active until you either exit to the main menu or close the game. Repeat this section again after float clipping and climb this wall following this pathing. Continue straight ahead hugging this left side and walk through this gap. You can't squeeze through here unless you are float clipping. Drop auto once you've reached this point, and you'll now need to perform what's called airplane skip. This is pretty straightforward, but the positioning is a little less forgiving on console. To perform this trick, walk up to this plank of wood and place auto around here with the camera angled like this. Then simply move up and right until you get to the top. Mess around with this a little to see what setup works best for you. After doing airplane skip, follow this path, and as soon as you activate the checkpoint indicated by this symbol in the top left, reset the chapter. Switch to Troll now and follow this path and punch this blue orc as soon as he approaches you. Kill only him, and as soon as he explodes into a gooey mess, switch to auto. Now cut the first vine. Next, walk off this ledge, aiming with a spear as you do this. The reason you want to do this is, when you fall while aiming in this game, it negates all fall damage so long as you continue aiming throughout the entire fall. It's also quicker to do this instead of grabbing the ledge and dropping down normally. Now, run to this climbable surface and follow this pathing. Be quick, or there's a good chance the enemies will become aggroed, preventing you from climbing. After you reach the top, run over here and collect all the weapon bindings and auto idols you see. These smaller enemies will come after you, and if they get too close, go to cut the vine and come back for the items when you're done. You don't want them to hit you because that'll lose you time, and if you get cornered, you can get stun locked pretty easily. After the vine is cut and the items are picked up, drop off the ledge using the fall damage exploit and crouch as soon as you can. Or, if you have less than 7 spears, you can carve this tree and then crouch. After that, switch to Troll and run to pick up auto. Head towards the rock face, and if you did everything correctly, the enemy shouldn't be aggroed by the time you go to grab the wall. Now head up the rock face taking this path, and the airplane segment is done. Skip this cutscene, and the moment you're able to, use your bellow ability and pick up auto. You can spam the pickup command even while bellow is being used. Next, run down this path to pick up this rock and throw it at the fracture. You should be able to destroy it before an unskippable cutscene plays, but it doesn't matter either way. Once this fracture is destroyed, pick up the green shard that it drops. If you don't see one initially, look around more because this fracture is guaranteed to drop at least 1 green shard. Once the green shard is obtained, switch to Troll and pick up auto. You'll now want to drop auto partially out of bounds by positioning yourself to the left of this carvable tree and moving back as far as you can. Take a look at my minimap icons to get a better idea of where you should be. When you get into position, drop auto, and if done correctly, you should be standing about here. Run up and to your right until you're fitted into this corner. You're going to want to climb this rock in front of you, but knowing where to climb can be tricky since all this foliage is in the way. The best way to find this sweet spot is to wedge yourself in this corner exactly like I do here. Again, look at my minimap if you need another visual cue. Once that step is taken care of, have auto move to the right a tiny bit and then climb. You should end up on this rock if all went well. Now run to the right here, but also hug this wall to your left as you do it, or it's very likely you'll get stuck. When you arrive here, look for this diagonal crack in the wall and enter the climb inputs while facing it. Hold right as you're climbing since you'll need to begin moving immediately as you're up here or you'll slide off. Last, run straight ahead, fall back in bounds, and run up this hill until you activate a cutscene. Doing this will warp Troll to your position. direction. Skip both of these cutscenes once you arrive here and pick up Auto immediately. Run over to the fabled troll door and attack with troll to drop Auto and swat away any hunters that are close by. It's important that you're about on top of the symbol on the ground when you do this, and you'll want to knock hunters away since they'll need to be an okay distance away in order to activate the door. Once Auto drops, switch to him and follow the inspect prompt. Now switch to troll and repeat. If the hunters are too close, nothing will happen and you may have to kill them depending on their positioning. You can also try moving forward towards the door, turn around like this, and activate the door from this angle. This will often work if the door doesn't activate immediately. Once this next cutscene plays, you've completed this area. Troll Cave is very self-explanatory as you can basically no-clip through the entire section. Pick up Auto as soon as you spawn in and run straight ahead until you reach this small hole in the wall. Drop Auto, switch to him, and begin to crawl through it. Rather than going all the way through, however, back up and while Auto is performing the animation of exiting the hole, switch to Troll. This will place Auto in a strange out-of-bounds state where you can run pretty much anywhere you want. Head towards this Auto idol over here and pick it up. Then head towards a second idol by heading this direction. Look for the trophy icons on your minimap if you're lost. Before you exit Troll Cave, you'll need to craft some blue spears if you want to be efficient. And you'll do this using a crafting glitch. I like to do so right after I grab this final auto idol. First, upgrade your crafting by 2 points and then open the crafting menu. To use the crafting glitch, you need to highlight an item that you have the materials for, in this case, the green spear, and right as you hold the button to craft, move the icon to an item adjacent to it. For example, if you're using a controller and want to craft a blue spear, you'd highlight the green spear and then hold right on the D-pad and the crafting button at about the same time. You want to press the D-pad a split second earlier than the other button, but it's hard to explain the timing exactly. I suggest you play around with this for a while until you've got the proper muscle memory to perform this trick. If you have the materials to do so, craft 5 blue spears. Otherwise, craft as many as you can for the time being. Once those are crafted, simply run this direction until this cutscene plays. Lastly, you'll be reunited with Troll once the cutscene ends. Using Troll, run over to this platform and activate the next cutscene, followed by a final cutscene which will conclude Troll Cave. Skip the cutscene that plays after the final Troll Cave one and immediately pick up Auto. If you crafted blue spears before exiting Troll Cave, you can run over here and throw a spear at this boulder pile from Troll's shoulder as you're moving. The blue spears should be equipped by default. Now, continue down this path and hang a right. Since you're float clipping, you can walk through this terrain which is intended to only be traversable by Auto, bypassing the entire trap segment. Walk slightly to the left here since there's a pitfall trap straight ahead. Grab the wall and follow my pathing for what feels like an eternity. Once you reach this point, you can drop and head towards this blue rock pile. Throw a second blue spear at the pile and continue forward, skipping this next cutscene that pops up. Make your way towards the wounded hunter and skip the cutscene that follows. Now you'll want to pick up Auto and perform what's called barricade skip. To do this, you'll need to wedge yourself between this gap in the barricade as Troll, walking backwards as you do it. Make sure you're not too parallel to the wall as well, keeping an angle similar to what I have here. Once in position and continually walking backwards, drop Auto. If you did everything correctly, you should be on the other side of the barricade as Auto with the enemy AI remaining inactive. Cut these 2 ropes to allow Troll to enter. You can skip both rope cutting animations. Lastly, head up this rock wall and that concludes the bridge section. This next segment needs to be done quickly in order to pull off effectively. The moment you skip this cutscene, switch to Troll and re-equip the hide ability since it defaults to bellow when you load this area. Then immediately turn invisible, but make sure you are running when you do this or else you will get locked into this long ability casting animation. Once running and invisible, pick up Auto and continue into the camp. Once you're about this far into the camp, aim and throw a spear at this patch of grass. You want to do this in such a way that gets the attention of the orc in this building and the large orc with the red armor, so you can climb the following wall without interruption. Make sure you stay invisible during this entire section. Once you're in the clear, head up this wall like so. And since you finished that first section without alerting anybody, this entire second area will be clear of any enemies. The rest is pretty straightforward. Head over here and lower this drawbridge. For some reason, you can't skip this animation cutscene. Continue down this path and then up this wall, taking this pathing, and finally exit the area and you're done. After loading into this next zone, you'll want to head over to this fenced off area to perform what's called gate skip, assuming you're still float clipping, that is. This trick is simple. All you need to do is walk backwards into the fence as Troll with your back facing it and then drop auto. This can be done pretty much anywhere on the fence, so long as your back is parallel to it. Just make sure you don't drop auto directly behind the gate door itself, or the enemies on the other side will become aggroed. After performing gate skip, run over and grab this ledge. As you're climbing, switch to your wooden spears if you have any. Continue up these stairs and throw a wooden spear at the siren. But if you don't have any, don't sweat it. You can alternatively head up these stairs and destroy the siren with a melee weapon. Once that's taken care of, grab onto this ledge and make your way towards this button to power it off. After you've pressed the button powering the gate, turn right and head down this long walkway, ultimately leading down to these stairs on your left, which you'll head down and then drop off this ledge using the fall damage glitch. Now you can switch to Troll and open the gate. Pick up the piece of scrap metal that's on your right because you'll need it to perform another glitch called wing clip. This works by dropping this large piece of metal, or airplane wing from the earlier segment, next to a solid object and then interacting with the button prompt on the side of the wing that is facing the thing you want to clip through. Press your respective button and if done successfully, you will have clipped through the object. The timing for this glitch can be tricky to get a feel for, so spend a good amount of time feeling this one out until you're comfortable. In the case of this area, you'll want to wing clip 4 times. First, through this gate. Second, through the gate shortly past the first one. Third, down this path to your left and through this fence. And last, through this gate that you'd ordinarily need to power off with a button press first. Timing is key to performing a successful wing clip, and try to make sure you're running while you set down the object. If you're not running, Troll can get caught in a weird walk cycle where he'll spin around or not walk where you need him to. The timing varies depending on what you're trying to clip through too, so I recommend giving this trick lots of practice and use a setup that works best for you. As you perform the 4th and final wing clip, tell Auto to follow you, as this will position him where you need him to be. Drop the piece of metal once you clip through the gate. You can now pick up Auto through the gate once you get close enough to him. After Auto has been picked up, you can exit the area, which concludes the mineral mine portion of the run. Upon entering this area, a cutscene will play that you can skip. This first section is extremely dull. All you can really do is move and cast hide. The only noteworthy thing is, if you're playing on hard, you likely won't be able to storm through this section without dying, and you'll need to occasionally stop to heal and recharge Troll's energy with these little statues. If you're on easy, walk straight through it, cutting corners as much as possible until you reach this cabin where you'll place Auto. After gaining control of Auto, turn left and head down this path. If you're running on hard, I recommend picking up these healing items, but otherwise, skip them. As you approach this ledge, a cutscene will play that you can skip. Skip it and then fall damage glitch off this cliff, and the part that follows is pretty self-explanatory. Simply cut all the ropes in a rotation similar to this, and then pull the lever on Troll's back when they're all cut. Skip the cutscene of Troll being freed and then pick up Auto immediately. Now you'll need to run over here and perform a trap skip. A trap skip is accomplished by simply running up to a suspended Troll trap and punching through the activation zone while Auto is on your shoulder. This removes the need to manually disarm the trap as Auto. Keep in mind that if you reset the chapter recently, Auto will be locked to Troll's shoulder, making this glitch impossible. If he is locked to Troll's shoulder, you can easily circumvent this by dropping Auto once and then picking him back up. As for the skip itself, once you've punched and think you're past the trap, pick up Auto and proceed. You can perform this multiple times if you're not fully comfortable with your position after the initial punch, since not passing the activation zone means you'll die. If you don't think you're far enough, pick up Auto and punch forward again. You can pass through every single trap with one punch, but you'll need to practice the timing to be able to do that every time. I use the orange circles on my mini-map as a visual indicator. Once you know how to pull off a trap skip, the rest of this section is pretty linear. There are 4 trap skips that you will need to perform throughout this snow section. Follow this path like so until you get to this point and perform your second trap skip. Next, you'll come across a pitfall trap that you can bypass without grabbing onto the wall if you're float clipping. All you need to do is run parallel to the wall while hugging it as closely as possible like this, and so long as you're still float clipping, you'll get through unscathed. Once again, continue down this path. Once you reach this area, be mindful of the bear traps on the ground. They're easy to avoid, but make sure you don't step in one as it's a huge time loss if you do. After passing those, perform your third trap skip right here. Continue down the linear path until arriving here to perform your final trap skip. All that's left to do now is head right, climb this rock wall, and exit the area. The first thing you need to do when this area loads is immediately restart the checkpoint to lock Auto onto Troll's shoulder. This is required for an upcoming glitch, so make sure Auto stays there until you finish the skip. This first section is pretty basic. Just follow my pathing here and keep moving forward. If you haven't interacted with a fracture up until this point, it's very likely that you'll trigger this cutscene. If you are going to trigger this cutscene, turn Troll invisible before it activates to avoid being aggroed. Wait it out and then continue moving forward. Once you enter this room, hang a left and scale this wall. After you reach the top, you'll need to perform what we call early boss. Ordinarily, if you proceed here, this unskippable cutscene will play and Auto and Troll will become separated. You can bypass all of this if Auto is locked to Troll's shoulder by carefully shimmying along the edge of this walkway. However, don't walk too close to the edge or you'll end up falling and grabbing the ledge. But don't walk too close to the center either or you'll activate this cutscene. This skip isn't particularly hard to pull off, but make sure you know where to walk or you'll end up costing yourself a bunch of time. The rest of this cave section is running with Troll, taking this path until you reach the boss fight. Also, make sure you have at least 3 blue spears before entering the fight and be sure to have them equipped. A cutscene will play once you enter the boss room. Skip it. Firstly, when gaining control of Auto, crouch and then make your way towards the shadow here. Position yourself at the tip of the shadow and start throwing your blue spears at the boss's helmet. Stay crouched when you do this as it drastically reduces your weapon sway. As long as your reticle was aimed at about the center of the boss's helmet upon the first throw, you can continue to spam the throw button and the last 2 spears should land no matter what. Once the helmet is off, you'll want to position Auto behind the rock that you spawned behind to prevent him from taking any damage. You can actually move and do this while this cutscene plays. Just look at your icon on the minimap to guide your movement. You'll ideally want to shoot for being about here before the cutscene is over. Once Auto is safe, switch to Troll and start pelting the boss's shield with boulders like so. Perform a swipe attack every once in a while when a large group of enemies forms to prevent body blocking or if you're on hard, taking too much damage. After you land 4 boulder hits on the boss's chest, the second phase of the fight will start. After this cutscene plays, you'll have control of Auto by default. Run him down this path, climb this ledge, and stop once you reach about here or until you're certain you're out of range of taking damage from the boss. Now switch to Troll and grab another rock, placing it about here, slightly to the right of the rock wall. Next, turn right and run over here to pick up an additional boulder, and as soon as it's picked up, you can switch back to Auto. You'll now need to make the journey up this long spiraling path. If you're just starting off, I recommend killing these 2 scavengers once you get to them. It's faster not to, but at the same time, if you don't, there's a chance you'll become aggroed and stay that way, preventing you from climbing the upcoming rock wall. If you're feeling lucky or going for a competitive time though, just run past them and continue up the mountain. If you've made it this far and still don't have both a tree branch and stone club head, carve one of these blue crystals. This will allow you to use the crafting glitch to later make red spears, which you'll need to have for the final fight. You can also make red spears using the materials for a stone club though, so if you're able to make one of those, skip grabbing this blue crystal. The rest of this path is pretty self-explanatory. The only noteworthy thing is be sure to pay attention to your stamina when making these jumps. It's very easy to run out of stamina and fall to your death if you're not careful. Also, stay closer to the left when you jump, as sometimes jumping too far to the right will result in you falling anyways. Once you finally reach the top and have jumped on the boss's head, the game will automatically switch to Troll and you'll need to throw 2 boulders at the boss's exposed chest. If you want to one-cycle this fight, meaning you throw both boulders at him while Auto is still on his head, you need to do this fast. The very instant you gain control of Troll, run up to where you set the first boulder down and immediately throw the one you're holding, throwing the second one afterwards as quickly as you can muster. If you are quick, the boss will die right here, but if not, you'll need to run all the way back to the top with Auto and throw a second boulder at the boss, taking a massive time loss. Be sure to practice one-cycling the boss, since doing this does require a good amount of speed. Once the boss is dead, however, you can pick up Auto with Troll and run to the exit, concluding the fight. I hope you're still float clipping because you'll need it for this next trick. Run straight ahead and activate this cutscene and skip it immediately. Now you'll want to pick up auto and perform a small out of bounds trick similar to the one we did in the troll door area. Much like the previous one, this strat involves placing troll in a particular way followed by dropping auto. There are many setups you can use to accomplish this, but I like to stand right about here. Experiment with it though to find what works best for you. You'll know you successfully performed it if auto is standing in the rocks similar to this. After dropping him, you can climb this rock in front of you. Angle yourself like this once you're on top of the rock and roll directly to your left. You should land close to or on top of an invisible surface from which you can walk forward and fall back in bounds. If you don't get enough distance, it's possible to get stuck out of bounds in between this rock, but don't worry, as carving this tree will also place you in bounds. From here, follow this path that I take until you activate this cutscene in order to warp troll to your position. Now, skip the cutscene, pick up auto, and head back in this direction. You'll need to move quickly through this camp if you want to open this upcoming door without interruption. If you are a bit delayed, you won't be able to open it right away due to hunter placement. If this happens, you'll need to kill any hunter that is close to the door before proceeding. The door opening cutscene is unskippable, but once that's over, run forward a little bit as auto and have troll pick him up. Because of the proximity of the enemies, you won't be able to pick up auto until you move a small distance away from them. Once you've picked him up, you can move forward and exit the area. After the next area loads, 2 cutscenes will play, both of which you can skip, and then you'll be prompted to perform a QTE. After finally gaining control of auto, turn to your right and stand close to this door. Next, switch to troll, turn around, and head into this warehouse-looking room. If float clipping is still active, you can turn and force troll into this tiny doorway and head up these stairs. You're not intended to ever be here as troll, so the camera is going to be a disoriented mess, but walking up these stairs is pretty easy once you know where you're going. As soon as you get to the top of the stairway, you should be able to pick up auto through the wall and then head back downstairs. You'll now want to drop auto out of bounds by standing in front of this wall to the left of the room entrance. Once you're as far back as troll will go, drop auto and switch to him. When done right, you'll be out of bounds when you switch to auto and you'll want to run along this ledge like I do here. Walk back in bounds upon arriving here and then enter this door briefly in order to spawn the enemies in this room. You'll know when they spawn as they'll appear as red dots on your minimap. Once you're sure they've appeared, climb this surface and turn left. Continue down this walkway and drop down to your left. Run to get the attention of this hunter, wedge yourself into this corner, and then crouch. If you're positioned correctly, the hunter will come after you, but then immediately lose sight and turn around, allowing you to stealth kill him. Pick up the key that he drops, run auto over to this door, and then switch to troll. Lastly, you'll want to pick up auto through that wall and head back to the place where you picked him up initially, that being the small room with the stairway. Be careful when you drop auto off, as dropping him at a weird angle can cause him to fall through the map infinitely. As soon as you've got auto on the other side, this section is as good as done. Wrap it up by continuing down this hallway, skipping this cutscene, and then opening your mother's cell with the key. Sit through this unskippable cutscene, and now there's only one section left in the run. The final fight begins with a cutscene that you're going to want to skip right off the bat. With the cutscene skipped, switch to troll and destroy these 3 alarms. Once those have been taken care of, switch to auto and make your way to the right, picking up these 3 weapon bindings along the way. Next, carve this tree and then pick up the machete that's on this box. After that, using the crafting glitch, make 2 red spears. Depending on what happened in your run, you'll make these using either the blue spear materials or stone club materials. Ideally with stone club materials. Upon crafting these red spears, move auto until he is facing this tree and then switch to troll. This next bit is mildly RNG dependent. All you want to do is kill all these hunters as quickly as possible. Don't use your swipe attack on them as it doesn't kill them in one hit. Use the punch instead. 3 waves of hunters will spawn, and after you clear the first one, Nico will appear. After that short cutscene, switch to auto and carve more spears. Now make your way to wherever Nico spawned and throw a wooden spear at him. Keep in mind that he'll spawn in one of 3 set locations, but it's random which one he'll appear at. After Nico has been hit, equip your red spears, make sure auto is placed relatively close to this cargo unit, and then switch back to troll to kill another wave of hunters. Kill the 3rd wave as well, but be ready to reposition auto the moment the last hunter dies. When he does, switch to auto, stand here, and aim with a red spear at this shadow just like this. A cutscene will now play, and when it's over, immediately throw your red spear. If your positioning was good, you'll have killed all the enemies except for these 2 armored orcs. Wait for them to begin to stand up, and then finish them off with the machete. immediately. Nico will likely appear for the second time at this point, but ignore him for now and throw your second red spear into the cargo unit as a second wave of orcs spawn. After tossing your last red spear, run to Nico and throw a wooden spear at him. Assuming you've killed enough enemies, he should reappear immediately after throwing a spear at him for the second time. Now throw yet another spear at him, and following that, finish off any remaining orcs using Troll. However, do use auto to kill any armored orcs or the scavengers that dodge Troll's punches. After all the orcs are dead, Nico will pull up in his jeep and you can throw the final spear at him, concluding the run. Time ends when this cutscene begins to play. I hope you enjoyed my guide for the any percent speedrun of Troll and I. Once again, be sure to check the description/pinned comment for any potential updates to this run. Also, be sure to like and subscribe if you want to support our content, and I'll see you guys later.